There is a 50% probability that we are going to see a nuclear incident before July 11th and 12th. Everything lines up perfectly. It all started about a week and a half ago when those two senators proposed a resolution that NATO would enter the Ukrainian conflict if there was any radiological incident that could possibly blow the wind in the direction of NATO countries. Of course, a nuclear incident in Ukraine. That's when all of this started. Then Zelensky starts on the mic a couple days later talking about warning us that Russia is getting ready to do a nuclear provocation at Zaporozhye. Understand what's coming on July 11th and 12th. It is one of the most significant NATO summits in a long time because it's going to be the one that determines the direction of this conflict and how much support they continue to offer Ukraine. Ukraine has given Europe an ultimatum, and I know that sounds weird. How could Ukraine give anybody an ultimatum in the position that they're currently in? Well, that's the way the world that works nowadays, apparently. Anyways, they've given them an ultimatum that if you don't give us security guarantees or a timeline, an actual timeline for accession into NATO, that we're not going to go. And if we don't go, then that means maybe we just let the Russians come in here and do what they want. And that's the end of the story. And Zelensky flies off to some island somewhere. And then guess what? Poland's got a problem. So NATO realizes this. They got to do something. Now, here is where it gets really, really suspicious. All right. Today, Ukrainian intelligence releases a report that says that Russia has told some of its staff that they need to evacuate the nuclear power plant by July the 5th. Now, they use the terms evacuate, and Russia has been suspiciously quiet about all of this. I will say, I personally think that Ukrainians are planning on doing something, and this is their final failsafe in case the counteroffensive doesn't go over well. But there's more. This is what I suspect is going to happen. General Milley comes on today, Mark Milley, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff in the United States, and he says that the counteroffensive is about to, gear up for full swing. And here's what I suspect may be what they're planning. They know they likely don't have the manpower. They certainly don't have the artillery. They don't have the military capability, at least at this point in time, as far as we know, as far as what we are told by the media and various open source intelligence sources. We don't know exactly what they have, but we know it likely can't match the Russians. So this is what I think they're going to do. I think they're going to try to do a significant counteroffensive in the Zaporozhye direction that might force some, I say some, limited retreat of the Russians in and around that region. Now, it's important to understand that the water levels are low. I obviously don't have a map here today, so I can't really show you. But the river, at least that part of the river, has been drained significantly. The reservoir has been depleted since the dam that was holding it back broke. That's why all of the cooling ponds in the biggest nuclear power plant in Europe that's been operational for nearly 40 years, so there's a lot of spent fuel in there. Well, now the Ukrainians are saying it's been mined, that they've mined the spent fuel. So here's what I suspect they're probably going to do. They're probably going to do a significant thrust in that direction. Maybe they're going to get some saboteurs. They're going to find a way to do some sort of explosive detonation in that region, which will be the radiological event that they need just in time for it to percolate for this summit in Vilnius and for it to be the main talking point. I mean, I can hear it right now. I can hear these 31 dignitaries from all these countries talking about the nuclear incident that just occurred and why we need to take action immediately or some sort of